From painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Today on Art Beat, we're going behind the scenes of Winona's Frozen River Film Festival to take a look into one of the festival's feature films called Show Me. Show Me is a film about the importance of art and art education, focusing in on southeast Minnesota. The film showcases several theaters, art organizations, and community groups, painting the importance of art in rural communities. Paper Cat Films is the organization behind Show Me, and today we'll be talking with the brains behind the screen, Kris Hipps. I'm Annika Bakkum-Ekern saying, let's dive into all things Frozen River today on Art Beat. 89.5 KQAL, I'm here with Kris Hipps of Paper Cat Films. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, actually.
Amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about Paper Cat Films?
I started Paper Cat Films about 20 years ago in Denver, Colorado, and I have, the company, I've been doing things with the company off and on ever since then. My very first project was a low-budget horror film, and got it into several horror film festivals, and then I did some other just kind of comedy shorts, things like that. It was mostly just doing really fun projects with my friends, writing silly scripts. I am an ex-Second City person. I was a performer there in the 90s and had a theater company briefly in Denver for a while and just, had a lot of fun friends, and we made silly films. And then at some point, because I love documentaries, and I started getting concerned with development and social issues, I decided to start doing documentaries, and I've been doing those ever since, probably for about the last 15 years, and that is really now my thing. And it's just, subjects that I feel strongly about. I've gotten 4 grants now for 5 grants for different projects. And I just really love the interview process, getting my concerns and my, opinions out there, and, just really delving into people and social issues and things like that. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. That's incredible. You just had a film called Show Me at the Frozen River Film Festival, and it was a feature. What was it like having your documentary chosen as one of the features for this festival?
Oh, it was great. I work for a theatrical organization, the Great River Shakespeare Festival, and I've been working in the arts all of my life. And I have dealt with theaters and organizations and cultural organizations closing down from lack of funding, my entire life. And, sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't. I ran my own theater company for a while, and socially it was great, artistically it was great, but the money chase is so daunting. And I only had my company for 6 years, but I feel like we did great work. But I feel like, it's so hard because there's not enough government funding. So many organizations, it's impossible to get by on ticket sales anymore. That's just if it ever was a thing of the past, or a thing, it's a thing of the past now. And I just wanted to, at this time in history, I guess, because there's just so much division out there. There's so much with social media, everybody's throwing their feelings, good and bad, out there all the time, just to kind of remind people that arts and culture are so important because they're positives, and it's all about who we are and who we are as a species, as one. So I got a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, a nice, generous one, and decided to just kind of showcase 5 arts and organizational groups. And I kept it in southeast Minnesota because it was a Minnesota grant. And I instead of traveling all over the state, and I worked with organizations that were small money, not large organizations with big, money coming in and a lot of funding, and just to kind of see how they survive. And it was so interesting seeing how so many of these groups, everybody pitches in. I loved working with different theater companies and how actors are also doing box office, and they're also working as ushers for shows they're not in. It's the Commonweal Theater was basically one of them that I worked with. Organizations that work with kids, organizations that are cultural, like the Dakota Gathering was one of mine also. So I really wanted to kind of just celebrate how much diverse arts and culture there is in Southeast Minnesota, and how important it is to us as a species to support these arts organizations, because they do so much for people.
You're already answering so many of the questions I'm going to be diving in with you later, which is
amazing.
amazing.
Talker, sorry.
No, this is totally fine. That's amazing. Before we dive a little bit deeper into some of those, could you tell the audience listening at home, for those who haven't seen the film, a little bit more about what Show Me is about?
It's about it's a documentary film, like I said, about it's about the importance of arts and culture and why we as humans need to support those organizations. So I showcased Commonweal Theater, the Dakota Gathering, the Cemetery Walk in Winona, Minnesota, which is a historical, cool show where people in the cemetery portray the people that are buried there and talk about their lives and the history of the city. And then I did Little Warriors Drumline, which is a drumline of kids. And it was, I just wanted to just get the word out, to the film watching audience about, how important arts and culture are. And in my interviews with these people, talking to them about how do you fund your organizations? Why do you love doing this? So often, so many of the people, we're not doing this for the money. They do it because they love it. They don't get a ton of money for it, but there's the through line that I found was that a lot of these people, it's just something they need to do. They have to do. And we also talked about why the arts are important, and the word that kept coming up over and over again was empathy. We're in trouble here in regards to the possibility of losing empathy. I feel, and some of the people felt too, and that with these arts organizations, plays, dance, music, you're kind of stepping into someone else's world. And so that's why, really that was the basis of the film, and the message I wanted to get out was that we have so much in common, and we have so much more in common than not. And the arts and culture really celebrate that.
That is a fantastic message, and it absolutely carries over into the film. I had the opportunity to watch it this past weekend, and I was so thrilled. I did. I was so thrilled watching it because I actually work in theater in Southeast Minnesota, and I worked with several of the companies that you interviewed.
Oh my gosh! Where do you work right now?
I'm a freelance director and choreographer when I'm not on air. So I actually... I know when you interviewed Chatfield Center of the Arts, Rachel.
Chatfield, that's what I forgot.
Yes, that's totally fine. That's what I'm here for. Rachel, one of the people you were interviewing, is wearing a Noises Off shirt, and I was in that show 2 years ago. So
there's so many connections.
Yeah, I had no idea who you had interviewed in before seeing the film, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know half the people that you interviewed. So.
Wow, that is great.
I know. I was so thrilled that I happened to choose your film, and it makes me absolutely overjoyed the way that you talk about arts in the community here in Southeast Minnesota. And we'll dive into that a little bit more in a bit. But how did you go about creating this film? What was the process like creatively for you?
I hired a friend to act as a production assistant first off, because usually I'm kind of a lone wolf with my films. I do everything. I do all the camera work. I do all the interviews. I do all the editing. I didn't used to do everything, but I'm a control freak. So I do like to do my own editing. I do like to do my own camera work. I enjoy interviews. My assistant did some of the interviews that I could not. And you saw her on film. She had the dark hair she was talking about. And she did some of the Little Warriors stuff when I was out of town. But so I just went out with my camera. I just people keep asking me how I chose these different ones. And I thought, well, I'd been to Commonweal and I loved it and it was fun. And I worked in a lot of theaters like that when I was younger. So Commonweal really reminded me of so many theaters I've worked in where you're acting and you're directing and you're doing the bathrooms. So that was one. The Cemetery Walk I love. I've been going to it for years. It's just one of my favorite things to go to in the fall. Little Warriors, I had seen them perform. I met Andre and Tara and thought they were two of the most amazing people I'd ever met. Became part of the Little Warriors family, the Drumline family. And then the and the Dakota Gathering, I'd been going to that for, a few years and just thought it was an amazing thing. Chatfield was so funny because I asked if I could screen the film there because I heard about their facility, and they said, sure. Would you let us be in the film too? And I said, sure, why not? So it was originally going to be. So I went there one day and just conducted some interviews, and then we screened the film there. We had to postpone it because there was a tornado. That's a long story. So, so I originally thought, about 10 groups, but then I stepped back into reality and realized that, 5 would be perfect. 4 or 5 would work. So, and I just kind of really immersed myself in with these groups. And now I'm writing for the Cemetery Walk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I kind of wanted to get a lot of variety. I knew I wanted theater. Music was the dance was the Dakota Gathering music, the drumline, and historical performance culture. So I really wanted to kind of, offer a variety. And so I just did a bunch of interviews, talked to a bunch of people, sat down at my computer, edited it all, hired someone else to do sound, and sweeten it a little bit because I'm not the best editor. And that was that. And then just started, entered it into Frozen River. I plan to enter it into more festivals at this point. So I've got a list. And then I did 3 screenings. 3 free screenings. All the screenings were free and had free refreshments. That was part of my grant.
That was incredible. You partnered with CMAC, correct?
No, it was the Minnesota State Arts Board.
That one, yes. So sorry. I get those mixed up all the time.
I do too.
Yep. They both have beautiful logos. That's what I remember. So, but yeah, can you talk a little bit more about your connection to Southeast Minnesota? Because you said you were originally in Denver and now you've been here for quite a few years. How did you hope this film would connect us to the area?
Well, I grew up here.
Amazing.
I grew up in Winona, Minnesota, and then I left right after high school because I just wanted to get out in the world and spent time overseas, went to Kansas University, KU, lived in Chicago for 10 years, worked with the Second City, and then lived in Denver for 20 years. Did a lot of traveling in, traveling theater companies and, then decided that I was tired of living in bigger cities and missed Winona. And so I'm back living here, and it's great. My ex and I had a magic and oddity shop in Denver, Colorado, and worked in the magic industry. He was a magician. And so COVID kind of ended some things for us. So I ended up back here, but I love all the arts that have bloomed in Southeast Minnesota. And just being able to be in this small, beautiful town. So that's my connection. I love the river. I am a river girl, and I missed the Mississippi Valley. So, there was not enough water in Colorado. But all the places I lived, I absolutely loved. But I'm glad to have this be my hub again.
That's fantastic. I'm also someone from the area. I always say that I could never live somewhere that isn't in the drift list because it's too pretty here. And it's fantastic that you were able to go off and gain all these experiences and then bring it back and give back into your community, because that's absolutely something that we need more of in this area, is more rich arts. And what is the importance of arts education, according to you, especially in rural areas like this?
Well, I always say that theater saved me because I was a bit of I had trouble. I was a little bit of a troubled kid Not teen. I was a great kid till I hit my teen years. And then I was one of those teenagers who just kind of went a little wacky and, just was kind of lost. And then when I got in school, in undergrad school at University of Wisconsin, I discovered theater and I discovered a family. I mean, I had a very supportive family anyway. My mother was amazing in supporting all of us. My brother's a professional musician in supporting us in the arts and telling us, go out and follow your dreams, do what you want, And so theater just really, it became my social life. It became my outlet. And I just never stopped. I kind of evolved from being a performer to being a director and then into film. So I'll always have a connection with the arts. But I feel like with kids, and in the people at Chatfield talked about this a lot, kids that could barely, were so in their shells and shy, are up on stage singing and dancing, because I know of so many people who have been saved by the arts or have found their calling in the arts. And for kids, I think it's a very supportive atmosphere. There's so much diversity in theater and in the arts. It's ensemble-based, so you are forced to work with an ensemble, so that hones your skills in working with others and collaboration. So I taught theater arts for years also. I actually had a touring children's theater company in Chicago for a few years where we did shows in schools and always did little workshops with the kids. And was also an arts counselor at a school for at-risk teens. I taught film arts. And those kids, especially the at-risk kids I worked with, the amazing creativity just blew me away, and how it was so fun to just have fun with them and make silly films.
That's incredible.
So yeah, it's just kids need that self-expression.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for speaking on that. That's something I feel so passionate about. And it seems like you have absolutely been able to give to so many people in so many different ways through the arts. Specifically talking about your film ventures, what are your hopes for the future of Paper Cat?
Oh, my. So I'm taking a break right now. I do photography also. So my last project was a photographic exhibit with 6 other photographers about what community means to me. And we ran it in the public library here for the month of December, and then it'll run again in the Acoustic Cafe here in Winona, where I live, in the month of July. And that was an incredible experience, working with my other visual art. I'm such an amateur, but we all were. But I'm working on a small documentary about Woodlawn Cemetery, because that has been my favorite place in the world. When I was young, still now, I feel like it's the most beautiful cemetery. And so I'm just doing a little short about that. And then beyond that, I have no idea. Just, I'll keep doing documentaries. It's just so much easier also than narrative film, because you're not having to hire actors. You're not having to, because I always made it a point to pay my actors when I did narrative films, and that's expensive. So, and one of my documentaries, which was called The Good Stuff, was I just highlighted people in the area who were doing good things on their own, like a woman who runs a food bank out of her home, a man who makes these amazing sculptures and only donates them to fundraisers for different organizations, never sells them on his own, and they're incredible. So I just want my films to show the world positivity, inclusion, I just want people to watch them and be happy, and just have some hope in a world that can be scary. I just want to keep shining light there as much as I can, and really kind of concentrating on what's good that's happening out there, because we know so much of what's bad, what's happening out there, because that's dominated, I feel, a lot of the time by the media and social media too, is that we forget, with all these sad things that are happening, that there's so many good things happening. out there, and we have to be reminded.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you've absolutely accomplished your goal of spreading joy and love and hope throughout your films. I know I absolutely felt very happy watching Show Me. And speaking of, where can people find Show Me if they didn't get the chance to see it at the film festival?
Oh, now that it's some festivals are odd about having you having it on YouTube for free. So probably after I've screened it in a few more festivals, I will just put it out on YouTube and people can find it. But if you go to Paper Cat Films, I just have a Facebook page, just Paper Cat, and it's separate words, Paper Cat Films on Facebook. That's where I kind of announce what's going on. But yeah, I'll never charge anything for my films ever. So as soon as I do a few more fests, I'll put it out there for people to just watch on YouTube for free.
That's awesome. That's so noble. I feel the same way. I love that there are no barriers in order to experience what you have to give the world. Kris, do you have any closing remarks about your film or anything that you'd like the people at KQAL to hear?
Just that in general, for people who are going into filmmaking, I never went to film school. I just kind of watched a million documentaries, hung around with people who made films. It's so much easier now. Back when I first started, before digital, aging myself there, it was so expensive to even make a tiny little short. Now, people are making films on their iPhones. There's major motion pictures being made on iPhones and iPads. So I would say if you are interested in making films, narrative, documentary, whatever, just get out there and do it. And, the editing system I use is super cheap. Editing systems used to be so expensive. So, yeah, if people have it in them and want to do it, I say don't worry about, I got to have this in this class and this class. Just get out there and do it.
Awesome. That's an incredible piece of advice. It is absolutely significantly more accessible these days. Well,
oh, yeah.
Kris, thank you so much for speaking with me. This conversation has made me so excited.
Oh, I'm so glad. Me too. This was fun.
You bet. Thank you so much. Thanks to Kris Hipps of Paper Cat Films and to the Frozen River Film Festival for making this episode possible. To learn more about the Frozen River Film Festival, check out their website at FRFF.org. To learn more about Paper Cat Films, you can visit their Facebook page at Paper Cat Films. For more conversations on art, tune into Artbeat Tuesdays at 12:30, right here on 89.5 KQAL. For a podcast of Artbeat and other KQAL original programming, go to KQAL.org. I'm Annika Bakkum-Ekern, and we've just heard from Kris Hipps of Paper Cat Films here on Artbeat.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at KQAL.org.